Hey there, I'm Ari from the Tech Buyers Guru, and I just got to sit down virtually with Mike from Thermaltake to talk about a bunch of the new cases and coolers that they showcased for CES 2021. Of course, that was all virtual as well, so I couldn't show those to you from the show floor like I have in years past, but Mike did a great job showing me all these new cases and coolers, including some new all-in-ones that are using the awesome ToughFan 12 that I recently showcased on the channel. This is an awesome radiator fan, so it's not surprising that Thermaltake has developed a number of new all-in-ones to take advantage of this fan, or multiple models of this fan. So you're going to learn more about that in this video, as well as some of the new cases they have coming up and some thoughts I have for cases that they might come out with in the future. So without further ado, let's jump into my chat with Mike from Thermaltake.
Tower 100. Now, I love this. It's a mini ITX build, so you are limited to that, right?
Yeah.
It's one PCI Express slot. It's small, it's compact. The same kind of thing is going to go for like the cooling and all that sorts too. So this basically, cooling-wise, you're going to get a 120 mil or 140 on the top, and then that supports basically a single fan AIO only.
Sure.
So basically, all you get is just a single AIO on the top. You do get another fan option that's going to be here on top of the power cover, as well as on the back, which is similar to like the Tower 900, where then you have another fan location. You know, we got the cool little filter, you know, thing on here in the back, and then you got another fan here on the back. So basically, it's a 3-fan combo, you know, for the space. Now, the neat thing here about the top panel is that, like, you know, all your connections are going to be coming out of the top and then kind of drooping around to the back. We even got these cool little cutouts right here. So all your cables, like your HDMI, USB, all that fun stuff can come out through the back like that. For what you're going to do. But we have like it's basically like a little push button. So there's a little, on the top of the panel, it's just, you know, a filtered, perforated, vented area, right? And then this has got the little click, click kind of thing. And then when I push that, oh, I'm going to drop everything. When I push that, that's going to come off. And then this actual, the top piece itself, this is actually screwed in. So this is actually will be like, this is secured in, you know, on the cases. I've tried to hopefully not break it, but this will be on the top. And then that gives me the access then to be able to get into that fan, as well as all your other connections and everything. Your IO will be exposed at the top for access to that, as well as the, you know, the graphic card for your plugins and everything. I like the fact that, you know, because this before, you know, I would, if this was screwed in and I needed to add a connection, this would drive me nuts if I had to unscrew this every single time. So I like the fact that we just made a nice little convenient like access panel for that.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and then it gives some great airflow too, which is definitely needed in, you know, a small form factor case like this. And then with that, once we take the panel, or once we take the top off, it basically unlocks the panels. So then all of this stuff, like the sides and everything right here, are just going to slide up and then off. It's just a simple little like pin locking mechanism. And then we have a vented and glass combo for this, because when we first showed this, it was all glass on both sides. It was kind of like just like an aquarium. And we got a lot of people like, and it was, you know, me too. I mean, I even said, I was like, hey, why didn't we do that cool little half and half look that we did with the 900? And then we talked, and then, yeah, they figured it out. And I was like, yes. Because then this gives it that iconic look of the Tower 900, which I love so much. And of course, it gives great airflow because your graphics card is right here. This is the bracket. Graphic card's gonna be right there. And then with this filtration, you're basically going to get a vent right where the fans are going to go.
It's basically getting fresh air.
Yep. And then you got some intake coming up from the bottom a little bit with the fan on the cover. You got exhaust out the top, and then you got exhaust out the back with the other fans that you would have there too. And then this makes it convenient. You know, the panels pop up and off, and you can take those panels out. You're going to get 2 SSD storage options here on this side. So that way you get 2 SSDs over there. You get a nice little bit of access to everything. You know, the cover itself, as far as, you know, how this goes, you'll get little ports right here for your cables for USB and everything. Of course, you can mount a fan on there. Got one huge grommet for like the 24 pin and all that, because 24 is going to be on the bottom because everything's rotated. So it's kind of fun. It's a different little layout too. And then on the back with the case, you know, this is just another, you know, panel that comes off. Now, the one thing that I liked about this that I need to actually talk with them a little bit more about was that this fits a 120/140 fan, and you can actually secure it to the back of this. But one thing is me, especially as like a builder, this drives me nuts because when I take this panel off, it's connected. So the thing that I liked is that they added this perforation back panel. Now, this is not what the motherboard secures to. It's basically just a storage tray, and it's removable. But the thing that they added in here that makes it sweet is that there are 4 fan hole mounts for like a corkscrew fan thread on the back for 120 and 140. So I can basically transplant this fan to this back wall if I'm not putting storage here, and then I don't got to deal with that. And I think that's like one of those fun little touches that I see that I'm like, oh, that was cool. We might not put that on the press release, you know what I mean? But
are you saying, are those hard drive mounts?
yeah, so you can do 2.5 or 3.5 on the back. You got 2 and 2. You could do either or, right? Not like 4 drives total, 2 drives total. And then you also got 2 SSDs here on the side. And then we know a lot of people are, I mean, you know, what is it? Mini-ITX motherboards. You know, not most, but I would say a lot of them now are, you know, got the flash memory. And we know that's a big deal for a lot of people too. So I think it should be fine. I think it should be fine. One thing to note is if you are going to be putting a hard drive on the back, you're not going to have room for the fan because it's going to basically hit that wall because it's just a compact size. So there's a little bit of give and take for the smaller form factor size of this thing. I mean, it's nothing when, you know, just by itself. It's like a cool little popcorn machine, or like there's the little mini claw games that had the little.
It does look like a popcorn machine.
It's and this one, the other one was huge. You know, the big, huge Tower 900, dual loop cooling, 560 dual radiator fitment. I mean, that thing was wild. And then being able to shrink something down like this, I'd love to see us do something in the middle next, because I just can't get enough of a case like this. But being able to have something small and compact, I think for, you know, a lot of the people out there that are looking for something a little bit different, have a better or more particular type of space for working at home, gaming at home, both. Now with a lot of what people are doing and everything, it's a great little fit for a lot of that stuff. And I mean, the only thing you're really having to more or less deal with is just the Mini-ITX. But I mean, you know, you're not going to deal with SLI. You might want to add an extra card or two, and that might be a little bit of a concern. But I think it's going to fit its place for where it's at with the form factor. One thing to mention too is that it does support Type-C, but at the moment, from what I've seen at least, a lot of Mini-ITX motherboards
don't have it. And none of the AMD motherboards in particular. That's a bit of a problem right now.
Yeah, there's one by Asus, X570i, that they have that has a native Gen 2 USB 3.2 header on it. But like, I think that's all that I could find.
Right. And actually,
I don't know.
Are you sure that wasn't their DTX motherboard?
I'm pretty sure it was, because I'm pretty sure they had one with it. I mean, I guess I'll double check though. But I think that's the one little thing is that I like the fact that we did USB 2.0. Or I'm sorry, we ditched USB 2.0. And just did 3.0s and a Type-C. I think that's definitely the way to go. I've been telling them for a while too. I'm like, guys, 2.0, why?
Right.
Like, it's already in there. It actually costs more to get rid of it. So I'm like, okay, so we had to sit on that for a bit, right? Now everybody's starting to kind of come around. A lot of that was because we were waiting on the motherboard manufacturers to actually offer an internal header, like a legitimate one, not like an adapter and everything, because we've been talking about that for years.
I know. It's been a chicken or the egg problem.
Yeah, and it's just, what do you do, right? You just got to kind of wait and see what everybody else is going to do, and then once they jump, you got to jump too, right?
Right.
So this is Tower 100.
And what is this? What is the price?
So this is coming in. I mean, tariffs are changing pricing around like crazy right now. But I'm looking at $89.99 for the black and $99.99 for the snow. And I believe it already went up to like $109 for the MSRP. You can check our website. It's actually been changing quite a bit because stuff's kind of changing in price right now.
Yeah. No, I know it's hitting a lot of manufacturers. And so you're saying, are you able to say on the record that Thermaltake's cases are affected by tariffs? Is that correct? Is that something that you can say?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that we could do. Everybody's affected by it. That's in the United States. I mean, unless, you know, depending on where the product is made and where it's coming from. And we all know where most of all the cases are being made coming from. So.
Sure. And it's not dependent on size. It's all cases?
Yeah,
it's all cases.
Yeah. And then I mean to give like a difference to that, right, is our water cooling. So a lot of our water cooling is made in Taiwan, and that's not affected by it.
Yeah. Okay.
So it really all just kind of comes down to where certain things are being made, and you know what's all going on with what it is. But yeah, it's been pretty interesting, you know.
Yeah,
and
a lot of new challenges.
Man, like we didn't have enough already, you know?
I know. Well, that's an awesome looking case, and that price is really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's Mini-ITX. It can't be something that's going to be like 150 plus or anything. People are going to be like, come on.
Well,
I mean,
there are
I
a
think
lot of ITX cases selling for more than that, but
it's true. Very true. But I mean, at Thermaltake, we're when we do stuff, it's got to be global. I mean, most of the stuff that we do, when it goes, that's got to go like everybody. We don't kind of pick point one or two or the other. I mean, sometimes we'll change a specific design for like the US side because we kind of request it and we go like, hey, we want to do it this way. And we get to do a couple of things like that. But with these like global SKUs and everything, it's got to fit the market for everybody. And I think it's going to do real well for just a lot of people around the world because just how small it is. You want compact cooling. And I mean, like I said, you could put a giant graphics card in here. And the temperatures aren't bad. I'm really looking forward to getting samples out so people can, take a look at this, do their fun little thermal testing and everything and just see where it kind of fits in to other like tower style cases like this that, more or less don't have as much room as this, but are still kind of in that same category. And I think that's where we're going to do pretty well with this.
I agree. I think there's a lot of potential here.
Okay.
What else? So I know you had, I watched your showcase that you did for CES, and I saw you talking about the Divider series. I assume that's one of the other products you were going to talk about today. And I wanted to ask you a few questions about that case.
Sure.
So obviously the Divider is a new series, and Thermaltake has added in this split panel on both sides. That's correct, right? And you have both the 300 and the 500. It looked like you have more options included with the 500.
That's true. This is the 500, and the difference between the 5 and the 3 is that the 3 doesn't have a glass top, and it only supports a 120 fan on the top, so it kind of takes out some of the cooling options with that. But the 500 then will give you a 240, 280 radiator or just like a dual fan config mounting option on the top with a glass top to it. But the other thing that's unique about the 500 is that it does come with 2 extra panels. So the 300 and the 500 are going to come like this. You're going to get a half glass, half steel type of triangulated side panel is what they kind of came up for the aesthetic design of this case. And these are completely separate. They're not a one-piece design like you would think with the Tower 100. And it just kind of comes off, and here's your Legend of Zelda Triforce. I mean, it's got a weird, it's not like a dent, but it's got a curvature into it that allows this extra venting. So there is some venting right here, but I'm not going to say it's the bee's knees as far as making all airflow perfect. But at least it's something, right? And then this part right here, sorry. And then this part right here is just the tempered glass, and then it just kind of pops off.
I have to ask this though, because I saw what you were offering on the flip side of the case, which was a vented panel. Why didn't Thermaltake offer that same panel on this side?
It was a question I had too. A lot of it was the design aspect of it, and when they wanted to, like, I mean, I agree. The way they did this, I mean, I kind of questioned them on like, why did you guys hide? Why are we hiding everything? And they're like, it's a unique style. I gotta respect that. It's just another case series. It's something different. Most of the stuff in here is pretty standard for like your cooling and everything. But we did kind of talk about like, like back in the day when they had solid panel cases, they'd have that 200 mil fan or 120, whatever, and it was right here. And I'm like, we could do some perforation holes for airflow for that, for the graphics card, especially because this case supports a rotatable PCI bracket.
Oh, that would be perfect.
And the graphics card's going to be bam right there vertically. So that was the thing that we did bring up. We might be working with them on some other SKUs, or it could be something that we could change down the road. I'm not 100% sure exactly where they're going to go with it. Ideally, this is it. Tooling is basically done. And we did kind of talk about that because on the back side, you get glass on the top and then you get the solid panel on the bottom. So with the 500, it comes with another one of these that's perforated. So I don't have it, my bad. But it has perforation holes in it like you saw in the video. And then that's going to replace this part. So that way, and then this also has a cover for storage as an option and/or. So we could either use this for storage mounting or put like a 240, 280 AIO or radiator there. Even a distro. We have a new little 240 distro as well that we're going to be coming out with from the 360 big boy that we've had. But yeah, this reverses it so that way you're looking at metal up here on this panel, and then on the other side you would basically just get glass and glass, and then this would give you a full power cover. So it kind of opens it up. So at least with the 500, you get that I want an all glass kind of view.
So you can use the glass. You can use the glass from the right side and put it on the left.
It comes with an extra glass and an extra solid panel for each side. So basically you'll get glass here, and then it'll come with a glass panel as well for here, for this side. And then on the other side, you're basically going to replace the glass with another piece of steel. And then this is going to stay the same. So this would be fully enclosed and then fully open, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. So it gives you a lot of options.
So you get some options here with the 500. The 300 does not include the extra panels, but I mean, that's justified in the cost, and then, you know, the fitment and everything with, you know, the other stuff. They are very similar in height. Fitment wise and everything is pretty much similar, except for the top panel, like I mentioned. And then, yeah, full length power cover, 3 fans in the front. We're doing this in both the snow edition that you see here, as well as, you know, just standard black. And then we're also going to be doing ARGB editions like this one, where you can see the controller. So this is that little ARGB controller.
Oh, yeah, I saw in your video that you're including an ARGB, like a hub.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a little bit, and I really like how convenient it is because of the fact that it's just a little simple PCB hub. Anything, because all we have our plus side and our ARGB side. ARGB is all 5 volt, plus is all 12 volt. That all goes with our controllers. The ARGB, you know, of course, syncs with all the motherboards. So this allows us to do that same cable that we would connect into the 5 volt on the motherboard, and then that would go to that controller. And then the benefit of that is that if you ran like 3, 6, 8 fans plus other ARGB stuff, you can just daisy chain all of those and then end it on the back of the controller, because the controller basically will give you an input and then an output to go to the motherboard. And then the other idea behind all that is that if you don't have an ARGB motherboard, because we've been doing this for a little bit, and this was before ARGB motherboards were like a big deal. We'd have a little button control, and if you push and hold the button, it would switch over to the motherboard side. So we kind of gave you a both sides of the fence deal. Then you just sync it up with the header on the motherboard, change the color, change the mode.
So you still have that in this case? Is there still a hardware button up top?
The easy way to explain this is there is a reset button, and a lot of people don't use the reset button. And we have the little 2-pin reset. So you convert it, and then you can just move it to that. We're going to switch this out. I want to show you a little bit of that, talk about coolers, but I did want to make sure if you had any questions on the divider or the Tower 100 before I move forward.
You know what? I have a question about another favorite case of mine. I just thought maybe you'd comment on it. Came out a couple of years ago, the View 71.
One of my favorite.
Such an awesome looking case, very popular among my viewers and readers over the years. Been a couple years since you debuted it at CES. I'm just curious, that aesthetic, which I loved, is that still a current SKU? And do you see Thermaltake doing anything in that direction with the View 71's tooling?
It's my personal case at home right now for my current PC.
So you know what I'm talking about.
I know that case inside and outside. My stream system that's right here is the View 71 Black. And then right here was the Core V71, which was the previous predecessor, or we upgraded to the View. Now, yes, it is still a current SKU. We do offer it in both black and white colors. I'd love to see more of it. We talked about a View 51. We've been talking about a View 51. And I'd love to see something like that as a mid tower, with that being a full tower option, kind of shrink it down, still keep it ATX, and be able to offer some great cooling options for it. I'd love to be able to talk about that as soon as we have an option to talk about that. But, you know, yeah, the View 71, I mean, I got lucky.
It's really a classic. I mean, it really came out and changed the way cases were. I mean, aesthetically, it made a statement. It was bold.
Power. The way the glass panels are got like the suicide doors, it's like a classic hot rod when you get it. And I've full liquid cooling options. I'm running dual 360 radiators with a distro plate, and it just looks badass. Vertical GPU mounting, it's all native. You know, I mean, the only thing I wish that thing had was a power cover.
Right, because that was still in the transition time when people weren't really doing that. That's right.
And a lot of it too that most people don't know is that because we were like one of the only manufacturers doing an RGB power supply, the big boss man Didn't want that
Covered
cooling
up.
product to be hidden and covered up. So, you know, that was something we just had to kind of deal with, even though power covers were just like trending like crazy. You know what I mean? Glass was going nuts. Everybody's like, I want everything with glass. I want everything, you know? And
Funny,
then now,
yeah.
glass, like, no one wants glass. Well, I mean, it's still out there, but there's a different way to do glass now. And we're balancing out, which I like. I think here for us at Thermaltake, you know, stuff like that is big. Thermals have to be big for us. And, you know, liquid cooling, a lot of stuff. I've gotten great results with a lot of cases. My View 71 is amazing for cooling, even with those glass panels and everything on there because of the fact that they're gapped out. And yeah, that went really well. That went really well for us. So, hey,
Good, good. Okay, I'm glad I asked.
Yeah, no, dude. I could talk to you for an hour on the View 51. I know that case probably almost as much as I know the Tower 900 and the P3. Those would probably be. I mean, I've built probably 150 P3s over the years.
You know, it's interesting. I'll just say too. You know, I work with a lot of manufacturers, and no one's really followed Thermaltake in that area. And Thermaltake's still pretty unique in offering those glass enclosed cases, those open concept cases.
We trying. It's tough out there, man. A lot of people, it's a square box. Everybody goes, well, your square box looks like my square box. Fight me, you know? And, oh, you know, but I think there's a lot of cool stuff coming from everybody. You know, no hating here and everything like that, but it's interesting how everybody gets so touchy in the market with certain things. But yeah, hey, cooling. Let me jump on over.
Let's talk about cooling. I have to tell you, so I did a review not too long ago of this fan right here. Okay. So, and I found it to be amazing.
I was gonna say, what's your personal thoughts? Do you like it?
Oh yeah. Well, I did a comparison against a number of other fans, including some 140s and a fan that you probably know about from a big company in Austria. And you know, it actually was the equal of that fan, and I was amazed. The only thing I don't like about this fan is that the power cord is too long. It's 3 feet long.
Oh, okay.
I would love if Thermaltake would do a shorter cord and then add an extension in the box so you could have both, you know, have your cake and eat it too. If you want that short cord for cable management, and then if you need the extension for like a radiator or something, you would have that option. So that was the only issue I had with it.
I can definitely understand. I mean, I could tell you in the 7 years that I've been here, I've seen both sides where the cable's too short or the cable's too long. I have a huge case, I have a small case, and it's just like you can't make everybody happy with one size, right? It's the same thing with like the AIO tube lengths. You know, almost everybody's doing the same AIO tube, but sometimes they're just
a little bit too short.
And you're like, bro, why is this one not fitting? You're like, it's not standardized, right? And then, I mean, I'd love to see no cables, personally. And I think that going forward, we're going to see more and more of those types of solutions. A lot of that stuff's already kind of been coming out.
Yes,
and
it has.
I definitely think a lot of the market's going to start adjusting to that already. I could see it already. You know, less cable stuff and everything. At the same time, too, the other thing that I've always pushed for with a lot of our liquid cooling, you know, you got all those cables, controllers, RGB, and all that stuff. You know, one thing I've been pushing my headquarters with is like, hey, guys, I need more space back there. You know, give me more options. You know, don't make me have to find a hard place to jam a controller somewhere and worry that the side panel's not going to close. Make that bad boy a 1/2 inch thicker, you know? Change the, you know, depths and diameters of stuff to adjust for that. So, you know, it's some cool things like the View 51 that we did come out with, but the View 51 that we came out with, because I know we talked about that before, but it wasn't the View 51.
No, I get it.
You can follow me on that.
I follow you.
And I was personally kind of upset about that because I love the 71 so much, and where I was honestly bitching at them saying, "Where's a mini version of that? Give me a 51, a 41, a whatever one. It doesn't matter, you know." And because I'm just so hungry for that stuff, and I love it. I love the tech. I love the building. I love to be able to do something new way, new style, and a lot of that looked really, really good. So, you know, but like I said, the View 51 had like 4 inches of space on the backside and everything, and that was amazing. I mean, there's tons of room back there. I'm glad you've gotten to get some hands-on with the ToughFans. I mean, they are kind of new still. We did come out with a turbo version, which is 2,500 RPMs. And I honestly haven't had too much of a chance to play with it myself as far as doing it in like a benching scenario, you know, and stuff like that. But we've had some really unique little ideas going on with that. I love the fact that we're doing something that's just raw performance. I mean, I love RGB like a lot of people do, but man, we've been doing RGB a lot
since the beginning.
It's, you know, to see a nice, I want to do like a murdered out build, just all black, no lights. You know, something like that.
Speaking
with
of
like,
that, though, could you go? Is there a chance that these will come out all black with like the black trim pieces?
The newer ones have a silver, and a lot of that is because of the material that they're made out of.
Ah, so I see you switched to a silver blade.
Mostly because it's like some polymer name or whatever, and it's supposed to withstand or be able to support higher RPM. So that's why this, and then you'll see like the turbo will be like silver on the blade, where the other ones are black. I mean, I know with my lighting in here and everything, but when you compare the two, you can see the difference.
Right. Okay, very. So the turbo one is actually a silver, and the standard is black. Interesting.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
I kind of like the fact that at least it gives a little bit of difference, so you can kind of be like, okay. I mean, I know it's not as much for most people, but for like me, I have like a box of them, and I'm just like building. I'm like, oh crap, I grabbed the wrong one. I'll put 3 of them up, and one in the middle's different. So funny.
So I knew when these came out, I tested them on a radiator, so I knew that these were really specialized and awesome for that application. And of course, it only took a few months for Thermaltake to come out with their own coolers using these fans. It didn't surprise me one bit. So it makes a ton of sense that that's what you're offering here. And I think I gather there's 2 different models. One with this kind of LCD screen.
Yeah, so the Ultra with the screen, and there's the software, and then we have the ARGB one, which is just the standard TT logo on it. But the thing I like about this, at least, you know, it's got a crazy mirror finish to it, but is that this is rotatable. So regardless of whatever position the pump is in, you can always rotate the logo and keep it right side up. You think like the tower where everything's 90 degrees, any standard block's going to be sideways. So this kind of corrects that. Other things too, for other stuff, it's just always the right way. Or you can do something silly with it, you know, put it upside down for whatnot, who knows. But I like it. It's ToughRam, or not ToughRam, but the ToughFans are on here, not RGB fans. We're going with different pump style, you know, as far as setting this up. And then the new 2.0 software with the LED screen. I think that it's a good time for us to come into the market. I think a lot of people that have them already have had the older stuff. We're coming in with the fresh new stuff with the higher resolution screen and some other better features and everything that, you know, if you want to dig into, because I don't really want to, you know, dive into that too much, but I'm noticing those little touches, and you know, it's nice to see that we got some upgrade options from what's currently already in the market to kind of make it fresh, and the screen stuff and everything's good. The price is amazing too, from what I've seen. For like the screen stuff, they're not $300 and stuff like that. I think it's like $239 MSRP.
Okay. Yeah, that's a fair price for sure.
Yeah.
And again, you've got really good fans on there. That's actually pretty critical.
They're not cheap either for what they are with that, because that's always like the big one with the cost. You know, those RGB fans we put on, or whatever fans they're going to be, you know, that really sets a lot of the cost apart from just the radiator and the pump.
In this model here, you got it. This is a 240, but you also just released the 140 models. The 140 millimeter fan. So you also have, do you have a 280 and a 360? What variations you got?
I got 360 right here, and then I also have a 240 over here. We're doing 240, trying to think, it was for the ARGBs. So the ARGBs are going to be 240, 280, 360, and then the Ultras are going to be 240, 360. And
you know, I in my system that I'm running right now, I actually have the Thermaltake 360 ARGB sync. So it's been running very well for me for a couple years. I got it ever since it debuted. I think that was the first ARGB sync cooler that Thermaltake offered. Now, of course, you're going in a different direction. This one doesn't have the ARGB fans, but can you make a statement about the performance, how it's changed over time, this model versus the other models you have? Like, should people choose this if they want to prioritize performance? Is that the idea, or is it because they want the LCD screen? Which buyer do you want to market this to?
I mean, I would definitely say with these having the ToughFans on them, It's definitely an enthusiast market for people that are looking to get the best performance out of an AIO with the radiator size that it comes with. You're not sacrificing any of your performance for RGB when it comes to the fans. That's a big deal when you're talking about, you know, voltage and RPMs, allowing us to be able to put more higher RPM speeds, CFMs, and so on, and then also keep the fan quiet, because the housing and everything always has to be different for RGB to accommodate for those lights, where with just a straight raw performance fan, you have a better, beefier housing. If you've noticed, as you've had hands-on with this, just the fan itself, the housing is a lot thicker, more sturdier, and it's done that way to support the higher RPM. So that gives us that advantage, right? And then with the AIOs and everything with the pump, you get a newer pump series. Your AIOs maybe a couple of years old like that. You know, pump generations have changed. Newer stuff's come out and everything. It's not like your old one's not going to do what your new one's going to do, but maybe it's kind of, you know, a time to look at maybe doing a refresh.
So your pump designs do change over time as well?
As the technology changes and everything like that, I mean, when we do stuff that's Asetek or not Asetek now, because most of the stuff we used to do was all exclusively with Asetek coolers and their patent stuff and everything, this is us branching out.
Oh, is this your own design? Is this a different
cooler? Because there's no way with the way the pump assembly is and everything on there. And the other thing you can tell too is that with all these coolers, it's got the little, hole port right here. And that's like an easy way to tell how everybody's, you know, that you can tell the way that's done, because you don't do that, because you don't have to do that with an Asetek cooler.
Oh, cool. Okay, so that's a good rule of thumb. If people want to know, is that Asetek design versus a newer design? It's that port on there.
It's an easy way, I guess, to get an idea if it is or it isn't. I mean, at a first glance, when you look at it, you're not going to be able to tell unless you take the cover off to see what's under the pump and see that to actually fully know and understand. But that's one thing, because all Asetek AIOs, they don't need that. They don't have it, because it's integrated in with the way their design is with their patented design that nobody else can do.
Right. But yeah, well, these coolers are very, very cool. No pun intended. And
right.
I'm
always I'm a fan of our fans, you know.
Yeah, you're right. I'm a fan of the fans, and I want to ask you one other thing. Have you had any blowback from some of the YouTube coverage from a big YouTuber who talked a lot about the position of a radiator, up or down? You may be familiar with that that video that came out, and that's actually impacted me, because people started commenting on my old videos. Why are you such a dummy? Why'd you do it that way? And I'm curious.
Man, people at the heart.
Yeah, you know, I actually saw your demo right there was set up with the hoses at the top, but do you want to make any comment about that type of setup?
I mean, as far as when you're doing the setup, I think the idea, I mean, we understand that the bottom is bad and the top is good, as far as the way a lot of that stuff goes for air. But at the same time, we know that we've all been doing this for many years in a lot of different configurations, especially here at Thermaltake with, I mean, you know, I could say some of the videos that have been out there. The one thing I never really saw was a side vertical mounting. But you kind of treat the side radiator mounting to a better benefit than the front, because of the airflow option that you have, because you have that straight exhaust out the back. It's not sacrificing anything in the front. And then ideally, it's just, here's your, you know, this is going to be where your pump is. And then you just want to make sure that the radiator is just, you know, right above it. So that way it's above your pump. And in almost every scenario with all of our vertical mount side radiator chassis and everything, that's not an issue. Everything is, and you can go definitely usually always above the pump.
Okay, thank you for that tip. And Mike, I really appreciate your time and sharing the latest products from Thermaltake with me.
No,
and
absolutely.
I'm gonna be posting this up to my YouTube channel. So I hope you don't mind a little exposure.
No problem. And I'm happy to do more if you want to focus on like an individual product where I'm not trying to cram a bunch of things, you know, on you all at one time, and this and this and this. And if you ever want to do anything like this down the road, this is my new little setup that I have here for Thermaltake. I definitely appreciate your time and your support here on that. If you know, you're looking to get some samples of any of this kind of stuff, let Rita and her team know about that, and we'll get some stuff set up for you.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for your time, Mike.
All right, you too. Take care, okay?
Yeah, you too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.